Okay, yesterday, there are topics that were discussed with the devotees from China, which was part of part 2. So I'm going ahead to part 3. I hope that's okay. Because some of the devotees here attended the China discussion. Wasn't it nice discussion? It was a nice discussion. Bhakti Dari, how many devotees were online for that class? How many? 400 Chinese devotees attended the Radhastami class yesterday. So this is Srimati Radharani part 3. You recognize the beautiful Radharani in Vrindavan, Dham. And we started with Radha Tattva and some appearance pastimes, and it turns out there's 5 different appearance pastimes. I went back and corrected some of that. Different days of Brahma, different leelas of Radharani's appearance. Childhood pastimes, some of them we discussed. Now is the focus on her mercifulness, her qualities of mercy. From the Naradiya Purana, Sri Krishna says, Satyam Satyam Punak Satyam. Sounds familiar, right? Satyam eva punak punak vina radha prasadena mat prasado hitna vidyate. O Narada, I solemnly declare to you again and again and again that without the mercy of Sri Radha, my mercy does not arise. So better get her mercy, right? Better get her mercy. That's what we're trying to focus on, hearing glories of Srimati Radharani. And now some of her Radharani's merciful pastimes. Some of you know the pastime of Radharani and the jackal. This pastime takes place near Radhakund. We'll see the place shortly. So the pastime begins, beautiful Vrindavan. There's cows, there's the cowherd boys, there's Krishna, there's Balaram, enjoying the pastimes in Vrindavan. One day, Radharani and her Sakis were having a joyful time together near Surya Kund. Nice painting of Radharani imitating Krishna, holding the flute and having a peacock feather in her crown and threefold bending form with Lalita, who we were honoring yesterday, on one side and Vishaka on the other side. And they had a nice walk together through the forest of Vrindavan. And that particular day, a jackal came near Suryakund. Of course, there's a Suryakund jackal pastime, and there's a near Radhakund jackal pastime. Very similar. Jackals can be dangerous, right? When the cowherd boys, they saw a jackal, they weren't intimidated. They started chasing the jackal, chasing him away, and they chased him and chased him and chased him, and he ran and he ran and he ran. And to hide himself, he jumped in a hole in the ground. And the boys will be boys sometimes. What's your son's name? What's his name? Shravan? Sarvan, you wouldn't do this, would you? Yeah, you would? Oh, no, you wouldn't. Okay. They set a fire around the entrance of the hole, And they were yelling and screaming, and the jackal was howling and howling. And the Radharani and the gopis, they heard the jackal crying. So what did Radharani do? Radharani sent Lalita to see what's all that noise. And when Lalita came to where the place was, she saw the boys doing what the boys were doing. She chased the boys away. Lalita's tough, don't mess with Lalita. And she lifted the jackal out of the hole and carried the jackal in her arms before Srimati Radharani. And what did Radharani do? Radharani delivered the jackal. Now, again, there's Leela near Suryakund. There's a similar Leela near Radhakund. And she accepted the jackal. The jackal, with tears of gratitude, fell at the feet of Srimati Radharani. The jackal surrendered to Radharani. Srimati Radharani said, "There shall be no more suffering for you from today. I will allow you into my pastimes as one of my gopis." The merciful Radharani. So here's another place. Here's Radhakund. Oh, this doesn't work. This is how it works. Radhakund and Shyamakund. And not far from Radhakund, Shyamakund, is a place over in this area called Shiva Pushkarani. Pushkarani is a term for a small small lake. And you see from the photograph, by the side of the lake, there's a shrine dedicated to Lord Shiva. And there's a deity of Lord Shiva inside known as Rameshwara Mahadev, who protects the northern part of Radhakund. And the word Kora, Shiva Kora, means a holy place. So at this place, Shiva Kori, this is another place, according to Padma Purana, that this pastime took place, where Radharani manifested her pastime to save the jackal from the harassment of the cowherd boys. Not only she saved him from harassment, but she gave jackal the facility of being part of her pastimes as a gopi. Radharani's mercy and compassion. Another very nice pastime, there's many, this isn't comprehensive, but amongst the 6 Goswamis, Raghunath Das and Jiva Goswami and Gopal Bhatta Goswami were youngest 3, and Raghunath Das was known not only for his dedication to serve Govardhan Hill, but he was also very renounced. He was so renounced that after you know the story. Some of you may not know the story. Raghunath Das was the son of one of the wealthiest families in India during his lifetime. The Majumdar family was the family name, and his father and his uncle were landholders and super wealthy, superlatively wealthy, one of the wealthiest families in India at the time, and he was the only son, and he wasn't interested in wealth. So with much to do, long description of how he eventually escaped family life. He was married to a beautiful young lady, and he had no interest in any of those things. He escaped. Long story of how that happened. Wonderful story. And when he left to get the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, he first got the mercy of Lord Nityananda, another nice long story, but we're going to stay with Radharani. And he went to reside in Jagannath Puri. Just to illustrate, for those of you that aren't familiar, it enhances the pastime that you see on the screen. There's Radharani shading Raghunath Das. He was so inclined, although he was from one of the wealthiest families of his time, he wasn't inclined to any of it. He was just the opposite end. He was very inclined to simplicity and even austerity. So when he escaped and went to Puri, his father found out where he was. So his father sent many, many gold coins and guards to him to take care of his maintenance and well-being while he was living as a mendicant in Puri. And for a while, Raghunath Das accepted the gold coins, and with the gold coins, he fed prasadam to all the devotees. There's a lot of devotees in Jagannath Puri during the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as well. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates were also included in receiving the prasad of Jagannath from Raghunath Das Goswami, but then that stopped without any notice. And so Lord Chaitanya asked his servant, Govinda, how come Raghunath Das hasn't invited us to come for a meal? He said, he stopped doing that. He thought, this is not right. I'm taking money from a materialist. Although it's serving the devotees, he stopped. He said, very good. So now how is he eating? Raghunath Das goes to the Lion's Gate, the front entrance to the Jagannath. Some of you have been to Puri. If you haven't, someday you'll go to Puri. And one of the main entrances is called the Singhadwara, Lion Gate. So he stands at the entrance of the temple, and as the priests are leaving the temple, it's common practice for mendicants that they'll wait outside, and if the brahmanas are kind, they give some donation because they take prasad of Jagannath with them to their homes. So that's how he's maintaining himself, just by the alms from the brahmanas who are leaving the temple. Very good. This is good. And after some time, he came to know, Lord Chaitanya came to know he's not there anymore. Why is he not there anymore? He said, I feel like a prostitute. Will this one give me something? Will that one give me something? Will this one give me something? So he stopped. Very good. So now what does he do? He goes to the stall where there's leftover Jagannath Prasadam, and they serve it leftover Jagannath Prasadam to the mendicants. Very good. Then he stopped doing that. So if he stopped doing that, how's he maintaining himself? He goes to the side, that maybe some of you have seen, they still do it, along the side of the Jagannath temple. When those stalls that have the leftover Jagannath Prasadam become spoiled and they rot, they take the spoiled, rotten leftovers and take them to the side of the temple, and they leave it there for the cows. So he goes to the place where the cows take their spoiled leftovers, and what they won't eat because it smells so bad, he takes it and washes it so many times that the hard, uncooked rice in the center, it remains, and that's what he takes as his food. From one of the wealthiest families in all of India. I mean, it's pretty extreme. So Lord Chaitanya approved. And then one day he went to visit Raghunath Das Goswami, where he was staying. And he asked Raghunath Das, I heard you have a feast over here. Let me see. And he saw the place where he kept this little bag that had the leftover rice that was spoiled and washed in just the hard core. And he grabbed the bag. And Raghunath Das said, no, no, no. And he ate some and said, you're a miser. You're keeping all of this to yourself and you're not distributing any to me? That is to say, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had very nice, loving exchange with Raghunath Das. Nice story. In the course of time, someone who had come from Vrindavan brought a gift from Vrindavan to Lord Chaitanya. There's two gifts. One, a little Govardhan Shila, and a garland of gunja berries. Gunja berries are grown from gunja berry trees, and when they dry, they're strung together, and it makes a nice ornament for the Govardhan Shila. So Lord Chaitanya worshipped that Govardhan Shila personally for a long time, rubbing it. The very same Shila is now available. There's darshan of the Shila and in Vrindavan. Anyway, after he personally worshipped, crying, holding it to his heart, holding it to his eyes and tearing and rubbing so much with his hand, very unusual way to worship a deity. There was the indentation of his thumbprint is there in the Shila. And eventually he gave this gift of the same Govardhan Shila that he was worshipping to Raghunath Das and the gunja berries. He didn't say anything, but Raghunath Das understood. By that gift, he is giving me residence on Govardhan Hill. And the gunja berries represents Radharani. So he had deep, deep, deep affection and love for Govardhan Hill and Srimati Radhrani as the gift from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which was already in his heart, but now became manifest externally. When Lord Chaitanya ended his pastimes, left this world, Raghunath Das was devastated. He decided to go to Vrindavan, see Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, who he already knew, and then jump off Govardhan Hill and give up his life in separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when he met Rupa and Sanatan, they understood his mood. It was very visible, transparently visible. He was devastated. They said, you can't give up your life. We've been serving in separation here in Vrindavan while you've been with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for so many years. Day after day after day, and under the care of Sri Damodar. So you understood not only what his pastimes were, but the mood and everything, his internal emotions through Sri Damodar. Because he was under the care of Sri Damodar. The Raghu of Swarup, he was called. So this isn't right. You've had his association. We've been without his association. Here's our instruction to you. Please follow it. Every day, for several hours, you sit under this tree here at Radhakund, and you recite the pastimes and teachings that you've heard from Swarup Damodar and that you personally experienced every day. So he did it. He maintained his life to fulfill the instruction of Rupa Goswami. One of the Vaishnavas in the audience was Krishnadas Kaviraj, who heard and understood everything. He was already vastly learned and very elderly. Raghunath Das was much younger than him, but he heard everything and understood everything and realized everything. And then the Vaishnavas requested Krishnadas Kaviraj to write Chaitanya Charitamrita, write everything that you've heard, everything that you've heard from Raghunath Das, along with the scriptural references to support all of it. So he did. So now we have Chaitanya Charitamrita. compliments of Raghunath Das Goswami. So he lived, there's his Bhajan Kutir place, Raghunath Das Goswami's Bhajan Kutir place is by the side of Shyamakund. Very nice place. And when he was residing in Shyamakund, there was no Bhajan Kutir. It was just two ponds, two lakes. Later, Raghunath Das, some gift was given to him, and he accepted the gift to build Radhakund and Shyamakund as we see it today. During his time, it was just a kund. And one of the things that he did, pictured here, in his absorption in chanting the holy name, he was oblivious to anything except the holy name. He was very focused. We have a distraction problem when we chant, but he wasn't distracted. He was totally absorbed. He was detached from the world and totally absorbed in Govardhan Hill, Srimati Radharani, and the holy name. So as he was sitting by the side of Govardhan, Shyamakund, we see over on the left side, there's Sanatan Goswami watching. There were two tigers that came to drink water at Radhakund, and he was oblivious. They drank their water, and they left him alone, because super soul is in their hearts. They left him alone. And when they left, Sanatan Goswami came to Raghunath Das and said, Raghunath Das, you were so absorbed in chanting, you didn't notice, but these two lions, two tigers, came, and you put yourself at great risk. You're so renounced. Please, build a little bhajan kutir, a little hut, and you can do your chanting there very nicely, and you'll be much better, much more safe. So Raghunath Das said, what else are you going to say when Sanatan Goswami tells you to do something? He said, yes, yes. And he didn't do anything. The second time was when it was the midday sun, and the heat of the midday sun was baking his body, so his body was turning red just from the heat. And Srimati Radharani saw this, and she came with her upper garment and shielded Raghunath Das from the blazing hot sun. And when the midday sun diminished, she moved away, and Raghunath Das was then approached by Sanatan Goswami and scolded him. Before it was tigers, now it's Radharani. You're supposed to be serving Radharani, and now you've taken service from Radharani? What kind of a renunciation is this? Please, build a bhajan kutir. So second time around he did, and it's still there. It's a very nice place right next to the bhajan kutir of Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. So here's some more painting showing the same pastime. So the merciful Radharani giving protection to her dear devotee Raghunath Das Goswami, who held Radharani and Govardhan Hill and the holy name the dearmost to his heart. Here's a part of a vow or Stavavali written by Raghunath Das. Even though I suffer in long separation from the divine couple, I shall not, even for a moment, leave the land of Braja where Sri Radha Krishna eternally enjoy unparalleled transcendental pastimes, and I shall not, even he himself invites me, go to see the opulent king of the Yadus in Dwarka. He put his foot down. I'm staying here in Braja and worshipping the divine couple. If, with my own ears, I heard, Radha has gone to Dwarka, where Lord Hari passionately embraces her to his chest. With an excited heart, I would leave Brajapura and fly there faster than Garuda. He's very attached to Vrindavan, and particularly attached to Srimati Radharani. This is a photograph of the place at the backside. This is Radha Kund itself in this photograph. The backside is the Gopinath temple, and within the Gopinath temple is the Samadhi of Raghunath Das Goswami. That's the dome sheltering his Samadhi. Radharani not only interacted directly, compassionately, affectionately with Raghunath Das, but also with Rupa Goswami. Another very celebrated pastime. Many of you know the pastime. It's nice to hear it at least 100 times, times 100 times. So the pastime has to do with Radharani coming at a time when Rupa Goswami was writing Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Most of you here in the room, you know what is nectar devotion. Prabhupada's rendering, he calls it a summary study of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu was one of the main works of Rupa Goswami, because Rupa Goswami was instructed extensively for months, twice. First a short period, and then second long period of time, directly by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on the science of bhakti, and he instructed him and empowered him to write about what he had learned. So he wrote Bhakti Rasa, Amrita Sindhu. And one of the places where he wrote was at Kadamba. There's the painting is showing he's sitting under a Kadamba tree. The area where Rupa Goswami was making his bhajan kutir and doing a substantial part of his writing was midway between Radharani's home, when she was so-called married to her so-called husband Abhimanyu, and where Krishna was residing at Nandagram. So he was sitting under a Kadamba tree, writing one day, thinking, today is Sanatan Goswami's birthday. He's my elder brother. I respect him as my guru, and it would be very nice if I could do some service for him on his birthday. Not just send him a little posted card and saying, happy birthday, Sanatan Goswami. He wanted to do some service. He didn't say anything to anybody, didn't send a text message or something. He just was having a desire in his heart like that. But Srimati Radharani knew the desire in his heart. And so Srimati Radharani came. Here's another painting of the same. She came in the disguise of a young village girl. And the main version, it varies a little bit, but the main version of this narration is that a village girl came down the path and brought some ingredients to make sweet rice. So some ingredients means milk, sugar, rice, ghee, camphor, and saffron. Very refined ingredients, and presented this to him. And Rupa Goswami said, oh, how kind of you. And she said, there was a wedding in our village, and the ladies of the village said, bring these ingredients to you so you can prepare some sweet rice. I mean, they could have brought a pot of sweet rice, but she brought 3 ingredients. Rupa Goswami thought, how wonderful. Krishna is very kind. Krishna made some arrangement so that I could have some ingredients, and he made some sweet rice. And prepared the sweet rice and gave it to his brother, Sanatan Goswami, because Sanatan Goswami's bhajan kutir was not far where Rupa Goswami's bhajan kutir was. It's a place by the side of Pavan Sarovar. It's still there today. And there's our friend Dinabandhu with his little walking stick. And behind him is the bhajan kutir of Sanatan Goswami. Here's what it looks like inside that gate, the bhajan kutir of Sanatan Goswami. And so, probably didn't look like this when Sanatan Goswami was there, but this is what it looks like these days. And when he brought the sweet rice to Sanatan Goswami's, happy birthday, here's some prasadam. And Sanatan Goswami was very happy, and he started eating the sweet rice. And as he was eating the sweet rice, he was experiencing a kind of ecstasy that he knew this wasn't just ordinary sweet rice. So he asked him, where'd you get these ingredients? Rupa Goswami told him what happened that day. And as he was eating, he said, wait a minute. The girl told you that there's some wedding in this village. I know where all the weddings and all the marriages and all the thises and that's, all the children born and all the rituals, and there's no wedding. There's no wedding. Tell me a little bit more about this girl. And as he described the girl, he could understand that wasn't just a girl and a wedding. That was Radharani. Now look what you've done. You've taken service from Radharani, and now you've implicated me in taking service from Radharani. How horrible. But the sweet rice is so good. And he gave some to Rupa Goswami too. That's a nice pastime, where Radharani gave her mercy to both Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. Here's a photograph from the upper area. We see Dinabandhu is paying his respects to the bhajan kutir place. And inside that little shrine area is his bhajan kutir. Now, who knows? Today it may look very different than what this photograph was, but not such long ago. This is the Pavan Sarovar area where the father of Vishaka, his name was Pavana. So this is given the name after him, Pavan Sarovar. He constructed the lake. Now, to see those spires, that's the backside of the bhajan kutir of Sanatan Goswami. And here's the Pavan Sarovar. And it's a place where every day Krishna and Nanda Maharaj would come. And one time, there's a nice story. This isn't a Radharani story, but it's a nice story. Nanda Maharaj had decided to go to Prayag to take bath in the confluence of the river Ganga, Jamuna, and Saraswati. So one morning, Krishna saw his mother making very elaborate preparations. So he asked his mother, what are you doing? He said, I'm making some nice preparations. She named what they were because they would last a long time. Because your father is going to go all the way to Prayag to take a sacred bath for you and for me, because he has deep love for us. So he will become purified by that gesture. So Krishna said, there's no need. He doesn't have to go to Prayag, because everything here is fully purifying. Nanda, was hearing the talk of his son, wasn't taking it too seriously. So that morning when they went to take their morning bath, he saw a majestic person. What was the occasion? Was Makara Sankranti or something? Akshaya Tritiya, thank you. Rolling on the ground and laughing, and there were other ladies that were with him, rolling on the ground and laughing and laughing and laughing. And Nanda Maharaj had never seen anything like that before, so he approached him and said, "Who are you and what are you doing?" And my name is Prayag. I'm the personality of Prayag Tirtha. And I come to this place once a year to take bath in this sacred river because your son is a personality of Godhead, and he's sanctified this place. So many people come to Prayag and deposit their sinful reactions. I come here once a year to become freed from all those sinful reactions. And it's very wonderful. So Nanda Maharaj changed his mind. I don't need to go to Prayag because this place is so special. So here's another photograph of this pavan. So one become purified by taking bath in Pavan Sarovar. And there we see Rupa and Sanatan Goswami both being recipients of the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Of course, they're interested not in getting Radharani's mercy, but serving Radharani. And she likes to give her mercy to those like these Goswamis who wish to serve her. Shyamananda Pandit, this is a long story, a bit of a long story. Shyamananda Pandit is a very special personality. As you know, there is disciplic succession that comes from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and next in line after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who? Rupa and Sanatan, right? From Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That means many, 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 but in our list of disciplic succession, they're right there. And then following Rupa and Sanatan, Jiva Goswami. And so disciplic succession continued from Jiva Goswami to three stalwart personalities who we personally, thoroughly trained, and then sent them on book distribution, or to extend the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu far and wide, because that was the mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In every town and village, people should hear his name. So one of those three was Shyamananda Pandit, and we're going to hear a little bit about how Shyamananda Pandit received the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Now he has some pretty small japa beats, but that's okay. I'm sure he chanted a lot on those small japa beats. And another painting, he had a dark complexion, Shyamananda Pandit. And he has regular japa beats in this painting. So a little of his background. During Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's time, one of his very dear devotees, very, very special amongst many devotees, very special devotees, was Gauridas Pandit. It is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before he accepted sannyas, he informed literally a handful of people that he was planning to take sannyas. And the first one he informed was Lord Nityananda, who was devastated, but he recovered. And one of the persons who Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to inform that he was planning to take sannyas was Gauridas Pandit. Now, where Gauridas Pandit lived was not in the immediate proximity of where Mahaprabhu lived, but nonetheless, he was a very dear devotee. The place is Ambika Kalnas on the bank of the river Ganga. So they went together, Lord Nityananda and Gauridas, and he did the courtesy of informing Gauridas his plan. Taking sannyas means I'm leaving and you won't see me again. And Gauridas Pandit had a very unique relationship with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, "You can't do it." "What do you mean I can't do it?" He said, "I wouldn't be able to bear separation without you, so you can't do it. Please don't do it." So Lord Chaitanya, having such affection for him, he said, "This is what I'll do. I'll manifest deities of myself and Lord Nityananda And when you see these deities, so this is a very strong point, as we were discussing in the Madhvacharya message in the morning class, the particular part that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appreciated about Madhvacharya and his followers in Udupi, that they have a very strong affection for the deity form of the Lord, Udupi Krishna, and other deity forms of the Lord. Very strong in Madhva's line. Very strong in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's line as well. So he manifested two deities, one of himself and one of Lord Nityananda. And he said, whenever you're feeling separation, you just go to these deities and you'll see me. So I'm going to go now. And those of you that have been to his place, there's like a big boundary wall and big gate to let you inside the boundary wall. And Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda started walking towards the gate. And Gauridas said, stop. You're telling me if I see the deity and I'll see you, then you stay and let the deities go. Lord Chaitanya smiled and said, okay, we'll stand where the deities are and the deities can go. So the deities started to walk out the front gate. He said, no, it's okay. The deities can go back, and went back and forth a number of times, and he finally realized what Lord Chaitanya said is true. The deity form is non-different. So from that time, there's lots of nice descriptions that he had such love for Lord Chaitanya that he wanted to manifest nice ornaments for the deities and nice flower garlands and nice. But he didn't have the affluence to do all that. Sometimes when he was engaged in deity dressing, he would see suddenly the deity was decorated with all these ornaments and crowns and jewels and flower garlands, and he was in disbelief. He fainted. And when he came to external consciousness, there they were without all those ornaments. There was, in other words, a reciprocation of love between the deities of Ambika Kalna, Gaur-Nitai deities. After some time, Gauridas Pandit had a disciple who he named Chaitanya Das. Very nice story. Chaitanya Das was given a nice name, Chaitanya Das, because of his devotion to Lord Chaitanya. And on one occasion, Gauridas had to leave town. He left the worship of the deity in the care of Chaitanya Das, who with his enthusiasm became very inspired to hold a festival on behalf of Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Das honoring Lord Chaitanya, by having a Gaur Purnima festival. Now, when his guru was gone, he sent out invitations, and there was a big kirtan party. There's going to be a big shebang, big festival. But that place was very small, so it was going to be held in the public square where there's a big tree, and beneath the big tree, the big festival. And devotees were coming from all over the place to take part in the Gaur Purnima festival. And after all the invitations were sent out and all the plan was made, Gauridas Pandit came back and found out there was this plan. And you made this plan without discussing with me? How could you do this? He scolded him. But the plan was already set. And so when the festival began, the kirtan was so ecstatic, tumultuous kirtan, that the deities of Gaur-Nitai got off the altar and went out the courtyard and heading for the gate to go join the festival. And Gauridas picked up a stick and shook the stick. You get back on the altar. It's time for the Bhog offering, Raj Bhog offering. Get back on the altar. And he started chasing the deity, and the deity kept running out the gate down the street to the place where the festival was going on. Gauridas is chasing and chasing and chasing. And then the deity entered into the heart of Chaitanya Das and disappeared. Both deities. So he couldn't scold them anymore. And after the festival, they returned back to the altar. So from that time, Chaitanya Das was given a new name, Hriday Chaitanya. Hriday Chaitanya was a very respected, scholarly devotee. And after some time, Hriday Chaitanya had a disciple. And his name was Dukhi Krishna Das. Dukhi because he was always feeling separation from Krishna. So Dukhi means sad. And he gave him Diksha. This is a painting meant to depict the yagya in front of them, and there's the deities of Gaurnitai, and in front of the deities he gave him mantra Diksha. And because he understood the exceptional qualifications of Dukhi Krishna, at that time, Jiva Goswami was known to be the most renowned scholar in all of India. So he sent his disciple to become trained. Dukhi Krishna, under the order of his guru, went to Vrindavan to become the third student of Jiva Goswami. There you see that painting. There's two disciples, Narottam Das Thakur and Srinivasacharya. So there he is, taking shelter. There's Jiva Goswami accepting him. And now we have 3 students taking very serious instructions from Jiva Goswami to be trained to carry on the disciplic succession. Now, Dukhi Krishna Das was very service-minded. So he requested Jiva Goswami to give him some service in addition to the other training. Jiva Goswami is very appreciative because they lived, the temple at that time of Jiva Goswami was in the area of Sevakunj. Sevakunj at that time was a much larger area than what we see today. This is a photograph of what's left of it today. And he said, Jiva Goswami said, there's a place where Radha and Krishna perform rasa dance. So you go there with a broom every evening and make the place very clean for them. Pretty esoteric, but that was the service. And one day, when Dukhi Krishna Das was taking his broom and making place clean, he found, by his surprise, an ankle ornament that was glowing. And when he picked up the ankle ornament that was glowing, his whole body became surcharged with ecstasy. And he understood, this is not just an ordinary ankle ornament. This is something very, very special. And so there's different versions, but he hid it, or he buried it, or he put it in a place where others could not find it, thinking, I should return this back to whoever it belongs to. Now, this next painting is a painting that's taken from Sadaputa because, he wants to show there's higher dimensional space. So, one day, the lower left corner, on the upper left corner is where he hid the ankle ornament. Another day, some old Brijbasi lady came walking with her walking stick and said in an old lady's voice, did you happen to find an ankle ornament here while you were cleaning, because you clean every day? He said, yes, I did, but I'd like to give it back to the actual owner. Do you know who is the actual owner? And I can give it directly to her? And that old lady said, yes, I know who it is. And she transformed herself, into the picture that you see in the upper right. And it was Lalita Devi. I'll take you to her. So Dukhi Krishnadas was transported by special vimana to the abode of Srimati Radharani in the spiritual realm, to a higher dimensional realm. And she, Dukhi Krishnadas, was given the bracelet, the ankle ornament was given to Radharani. Radharani placed the ankle ornament on her forehead, on his forehead. His body became a gopi's body. And Radharani gave her a tilak mark with the ankle ornament and a name. From this day you can be known as Shyamananda. And here's a mantra. Now, Hridaya Chaitanya already gave a name, and he already gave a mantra, and he already gave tilak. So Radharani said, you can go back now, but one thing is, you can't tell anybody. And he had to tell his spiritual, he had to tell Jiva Goswami. So he told Jiva Goswami, here's some other paintings showing the same, different names of the different Ashtasakis, etc., etc., etc. Kanaka Manjari, the gopi's name, became Shyamananda. And other paintings showing the same. So Radharani sent Kanaka Manjari with the name Shyamananda, that she would be known as in this world. And when Shyamananda came back in his male form, Vaishnavas that were disciples of Hridaya Chaitanya would go from Ambika Kalna to take pilgrimage to Vrindavan, and they were very surprised that their godbrother, Dukhi Krishna, was now going by a different name. Not only different name, but different tilak. And so they started a rumor. Even then there was rumors, Prabhus. And you don't believe every rumor that you hear, please. But the rumor was, psst, 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 Jiva Goswami gave him a new mantra and a new name and a new tilak. Jiva Goswami violated Vaishnava etiquette. So they went back to Ambika Kalna and told the rumor to Hridaya Chaitanya. Hridaya Chaitanya, hearing it from his disciples, thought, what? How could Jiva Goswami, he's so elevated and so exalted, how could he do this? So he discussed with other elevated Vaishnavas in his area, and they said, this is really bad. We should go find out if he actually did this. So they made a pilgrimage to Vrindavan with a showdown plan. And they made a little camp outside of Vrindavan. Jiva Goswami heard they had come. Jiva Goswami went to meet them, paid his respects. Although he's the senior-most Vaishnava, they're visitors, so he paid all of his respects to them. And they said, we heard, psst, psst, psst. Is it true? And he said, no, it's not true. Then you please tell us how Dukhi Krishna got this other name and this other tilak. He said, well, I think you better ask him. Oh, by the way, it's an important detail. Shyamananda told Jiva Goswami what happened, although he was told not to tell anybody. He had to tell. So he understood how fortunate you are. Radharani has given her mercy personally to you in this way. I won't tell. Because Radharani said, don't tell. So Jiva Goswami said, I don't know. You have to ask. I didn't say I don't know. You have to ask your disciple. He'll be able to tell you where he got the tilak and how he got this name. So this is Sadaputa Prabhu's painting in his artwork. This is, the illustration is meant to show on the right side, that's Hridaya Chaitanya, and in the front, that's Shyamananda, and in the back is all his followers who had come to find out what's going on. What about this rumor? So when confronted, Shyamananda said, "May I have some time? I'd like to give you a proper response." He said, "Sure, take your time, but I want a proper response." So second time, in his meditation, Shyamananda transported himself in a spiritual form before Srimati Radharani, as you see in the painting, crying and weeping, and what to do? Hridaya Chaitanya thinks that I've made a big aparad, or Jiva Goswami has made a big aparad. I don't know what to do. Radharani then gave, there's the Lita giving, Radharani gave a deity to Shyamananda, or Kanaka Manjari in this gopi form, and to take back and worship the deity of Krishna. And you'll see a photograph of the deity of Krishna that she received, and said, "Here's what you can tell your spiritual master. Tell your spiritual master this all happened in a dream. And you can ask him, if it's just a dream, then you can just try to wash this off and it will wash off." So you tell him that and everything will be all right. So with the deity, Kanaka Manjari went back and told what Radharani said to say, and Hridaya Chaitanya said, "Very, very well. It all happened in a dream that we wash off this tilak," and the tilak didn't wash off. So I'll accept. And everything was nice, just like Radharani said. So when you visit Vrindavan, of course this was some years ago, it probably looks different today, but this is a shrine where, marking the spot where Dukhi Krishna was given the ankle ornament, or found the ankle ornament of Srimati Radharani, and after that, mercy of Radharani. So Shyamananda Pandit was a recipient of the mercy of Srimati Radharani directly. Here's the deity, the Krishna deity, Lala Lali, Sri Lala Lali. This is the deity that she brought back from the spiritual world, or he brought back from the spiritual world, as still to this day being worshipped. So it's you get the mercy of Jiva Goswami and get some service to Srimati Radharani through the mercy of Jiva Goswami, and you too may be transported to the spiritual world and get Radharani's mercy. Who knows what your name will be, but you'll find out if that happens. So this is just the evening before Radharani's appearance day, just hearing some of the nice pastimes of Radharani exhibiting her mercy to others. So your daughter has a question, or she's just playing? Playing, okay. I see. There's others doing all the same thing. So I don't know how you discuss topics like this, but did anyone have some topics you'd like to discuss about Srimati Radharani in anticipation of her appearance day? Devotees have come from faraway places. Besides, we have a couple of mendicants here. Jagatananda mendicant and Prahlada Shringa mendicant, and all different ages of mendicants. There's probably some others from some other faraway places. Nice to see you all. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for all of these beautiful pastimes. This last one is obviously particularly interesting. And,
Very interesting.
I was just curious because Dukhi Krishna Das, Shyamananda,
Yeah.
he had both Jiva Goswami and Hridaya Chaitanya like as gurus.
Well, Shiksha Guru and
Shiksha,
Diksha
Diksha,
Guru.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did they have any like neither of them seemed to have any comment, like either like affirming like the validity of what Dukhi Krishna Das experienced, or
Jiva Goswami accepted it fully.
Okay.
And the answer given to Hridaya Chaitanya, somehow or another, that's a little surprising to me, but somehow or another, he was just accepting. It happened in a dream. Now, I don't exactly understand, because you may ask, some people ask these kinds of questions. How is it that the tilak didn't wash off? And if it didn't wash off, then that was sufficient that it happened in a dream. Because he could have done some other way to put the tilak on so it didn't wash off. Rational people start going down the path like that. But there's no explanation that I'm aware of. It's just he accepted. He had, he understood the quality and character and personality of Dukhi Krishna Das. He accepted. The main thing was, where'd you get this? Did Jiva Goswami breach Vaishnava etiquette? And he was confronting that possibility directly first with Jiva Goswami and then with his disciples. So he was satisfied. How was he satisfied? You have to ask him. But he was satisfied. So that's your question. How did he process it? He accepted it happened in a dream, which in one sense it kind of did. So it wasn't just a total, absolute, outright lie. It happened in a transformed state, like a dream.
Just a follow-up.
Yes, sure.
I'm sure, the caveat is already there. Be aware, like you may experience something and think that it's something, but it's actually nothing. But it seems that this could be a precedent for the idea that, not all revelation will necessarily come directly through like a physical, like Diksha, Shiksha, Guru present
That's
in
right.
front of us.
But it yes and no, because the mercy of Jiva Goswami was the instrument for that. There was the instrument, and then there was the supplication, the service-mindedness, and the instruction was, Radha and Krishna have rasa dance over there. You make the place clean. So with all faith, he had a revelation. But the instrument was Jiva Goswami's mercy. It's not like Jiva Goswami necessarily is omniscient or, yes, I'm going to be the instrument for Dukhi Krishna Das to get this nice experience. But one can be an instrument without the full comprehension of all what that means. And someone can be the receiver, but where does Dukhi Krishna Das, now Shyamananda, give credit to the instrument? Not me. It's the instrument is where this mercy is coming from. To get Radharani's mercy, it comes through his dear devotees, her dear devotees. So all the principles are in alignment. And it may come, may not come, and it's up to Radharani to bestow what she bestowed. Yes. I think any discussion on this topic can be very interesting.
Maharaj, this is a question that I had, and Yamuna Jivan Prabhu and I were also discussing. you mentioned how if we do service for Jiva Goswami, then we can also hope for this mercy. But we are we are naturally meant to be the servant of the servant of the servant.
Yeah.
So what is our relationship in that sense with Srimati Radharani and Krishna? Because we worship them to some degree because this is what Lord Chaitanya and the devotees want us to do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we really don't. Our role is to be their servants, the devotee servants. So it's like almost like two areas of service. Prahlad Maharaj is standing in front of Lord Nrsimhadev and he's saying that I want to serve Narad Muni, my spiritual master.
Yes.
So in what sense can we develop a relationship with Krishna? More so than just because Narad Muni is telling Prahlad Maharaj to worship Krishna, the devotee wants. But what is really, our relationship is really with the servant of the servant of the servant. Our relationship is not directly with Srimati Radharani and Krishna. So in what sense is our relationship there?
Well, you're saying, your premise is, A, we want service, and then B, the service is unto them, not we're wanting something from them. Yes? That's the premise? Did I get it right or not? Not exactly.
So by them, you mean the devotees or Krishna? Like I mean,
them is the object of the object of service. Mm. They are to be pleased, not we're to be pleased. They're to be pleased. They're the object of our service. So your premise is, since they're the object of our service, then how do we put that together with the servant of the servant of the servant? A very simple way to answer this, there's different simple ways. One very simple way to answer this is like what Gopal Kumar says about the mantra, the Gopal mantra that he received from his guru. And what he says is, it's in the commentary actually, but he was feeling, I won't be able to properly honor my guru without having received the fullness of the gift that he gave me, this mantra. So the service to guru didn't disappear, but the fullness of the gift is that relationship with Krishna, Radha Krishna, in his case, Krishna, Gopal mantra. So he was returned to the spiritual world after different experiences on the strength of his dedication to his guru to receive the fullness of the mercy. So they're not two separate things. It's not a bifurcation of servant of the servant of the servant and a relationship with Radha and Krishna, because that's the gift. Well, you can say the medium is the mantra, but the medium is the mantra at plus service. So Jiva Goswami was training, and Dukhi Krishna was the receiver of that training, and he was feeling very indebted, and he wanted to do some service unto the person who Jiva Goswami is teaching about, Radha and Krishna. So the rasa dance was a place where Radha and Krishna danced. And in the course of Radha's dancing, an ankle ornament fell off. But it was purposeful. So it's artificial to separate the two. Serving the servant, and the object of that service is Radha Krishna. It seems like a contradiction, but it's not. Or two different things, but it's not. One thing. Seamless, one thing. Something else.
So in the morning, when we're singing Moraya Bilash Bilash Punyadiyavas, so is the devotee actually praying that one day may I have residence there, or are we?
One day may I have.
Will you give me residence in the groves of that prayer from to Tulsi Maharani?
Is it not the same question? What you're asking is the same question?
Well, because you had mentioned that the fullness of that relationship with the devotee is in the mantra. So is the fullness of that relationship also in having residence and direct service with Krishna?
Why not? Well, I don't see the contradiction or conflict or separating into two different things. I mean, in other words, Krishna is not alone. So Krishna has a place and he has people. I was listening to a morning walk conversation where, listen to this, Prabhus. Prabhupada was saying that there are spirit souls even within rocks. And everyone, Swarup Damodar and, all the sannyasis were going, could you say that again? There's spirit soul even within rocks. And Prabhupada's explanation was really simple. He referred to the verse that says, Andantarasa paramanu chayantarastam, from Brahma Samhita. That the Govinda by name, Govinda says, or the prayer says, that Govinda is situated everywhere. So super soul is everywhere. That's Govinda. And Govinda is not alone. So he has a place. He's within every atom, and he's not alone. So the focus may go to the place, but the place means the Lord is there. And when he's there, it's all of his devotees there. And one can be the servant of all those devotees. Even within a stone. Or within an atom, because stones are made up of so many atoms. Pretty amazing. That's on the higher levels, and who has that vision? But that's what Scripture says, and therefore Prabhupada was startling the devotees. Okay.
This was not the statement that Prabhupada made.
I beg your pardon?
Statement that Srila Prabhupada made, he was referring to in this realm, not just in Goloka, correct?
Well, stones in this realm.
Yeah.
Because he's Andantarastra Paramanu. Paramanu means the atom. So now he said Govinda, but Govinda's expansion. Govinda's expansion. So in one sense, non-difference, in another sense, difference, but Govinda. He's not alone. Yes, in this realm. Stones in this realm.
I have a question now.
Yeah.
Could you share some sample prayers that we might meditate upon before tomorrow's Radharastami? Something that we can...
I've been sending them all to Varsana. She just, check it out.
Okay.
I don't know who she's forwarding them to, but I was put on the quiz hot seat yesterday and the day before. The Chinese devotees are really good at it. And then the devotees the other day were also good at it. So you have his contact information, forward it to him.
Thank you.
There's many.
Okay.
Okay, well, you just hook up with the online. Anything else? Did you find out the etymological meaning of your name yet? Okay. Okay. Shower. Okay. That's it. Okay. Anything else? Juana Jivano, you usually have something. Why don't you channel your wife? She's probably got her hand up. Do we have any online question? Nothing. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Maharaj ki jai.